call to order. And we want to welcome all of you and thank you for being out with us this evening. 23 more days of school left. So it's getting close to the end. It's a busy, busy time. Certainly busy for our teachers and our students and that kind of thing. And, you know, the board's involved in going to a lot of events, so it's a busy time for us as well. Certainly we hope that everybody finishes strong. We're not going to be seeing you again for a meeting until after school is out. So, you know, hope everybody has a great summer. But we want all of our students picking up a good book and reading it this summer and staying in practice and being ready to go next school year. But it's great to have you with us this evening. We're going to begin with invocation for the board. I'd like to recognize the Vice Chairman, Mr. Dwayne Knight.
Thank you, Darrell. In this bustling world we live in today, it's easy to lose sight of the big picture. It's easy to get wrapped up in minor details and fail to achieve our ultimate goals. But for the class of 2017, they're about to reach that goal, graduation, not only college, military, or work. So today, let's reflect on the past and look for the future. Let's take a moment of silence. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Knight. Next item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, and tonight we have some student council members, 8th graders from Happy Valley School, and they are Megan Conley and Landon Dillard. So if everyone will please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you, Megan and Landon, for coming out tonight and handing out the agendas and leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Next item is the approval of the agenda. Do I hear a motion?
I'd like to approve the agenda.
Is it?
As written.
Okay. Do we hear a second? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And motion passes. Next, we have 3 sets of minutes. The board's had opportunity to review those. Our regular meeting, April 10th. Do I hear a motion we accept the minutes as presented for the April 10th regular board meeting?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the minutes of the April 10th regular session.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next, we have, or at least we had, a Granite Falls community meeting in regards to the prospective Granite Falls Middle School school down there. The construction of that, we hope, in the future here, near future. That was on April 25th. Do I hear a motion that we approve the minutes of the April 25th Granite Falls Middle School community meeting?
Chairman Pendle, make a motion we accept the minutes for the Granite Falls community meeting held April 25th.
Second.
All right, any comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And motion passes. And last, on the 26th, the board met here at 1:30, I believe, in the afternoon, and we heard from the advanced ed team, and it was a accreditation or a reaccreditation report, and the minutes of that have been provided for the board and you've had an opportunity to review those. Do I hear a motion that we approve the minutes of the April 26th meeting as presented?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the April 26th Advanced Ed Accreditation Report as presented.
Second the motion.
All right, any comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And motion passes. As of 4:30 this afternoon, we had no public comments, so we'll move on to the announcement segment. let me, before I actually get into that, let me recognize that Mr. Ramsey's history class at West Caldwell is here again with us tonight, so we are happy that you're here. Would you please stand up? Okay, so we've got a good group.
Should we also mention, you can have a seat, but we also mentioned that you have to stay till the very end. We do want to take a picture with you.
Yeah. And if you have questions at that time, we'll be happy at the end of the meeting to answer any of those questions you might have. Okay, some announcements coming up here. On May the 11th, this week, Caldwell County CTE Masonry Competition is 8:30 to 2:30 at High Brighton Building Supply. So that's it's coming up, I believe that's Thursday. On the 13th, this coming Saturday, we've got 23 days left of traditional school, but this coming Saturday, the early college will be graduating. So they will be graduating Saturday night at the Civic Center across the street. Then on the 19th, the Caldwell Career Center Middle College graduation will also take place across the street at the Civic Center. On May 19th as well, we have Celebrate the Children, a Taste of Caldwell. And my understanding is that there are 25 restaurants that are going to be there. So there's going to be a wide variety of foods there. So if you have an opportunity to go to that, it's a great event, plenty of great food, and it also benefits Communities in Schools program. June the 1st, Excellence in Education, 6:30, across the street again at the Civic Center. And that's when we recognize some of the wonderful people that we have in our school system in various categories. That's always a wonderful night to recognize those people. On June the 9th, we have our traditional high schools will have their graduations, and then following that, project graduation. And we encourage certainly all seniors to come to project graduation. It is a wonderful event. I think you'll have a wonderful time there. So that is, I think, starting at 10 o'clock, right after the graduation exercises are over with at each of the schools. June the 12th will be our next board meeting here in the boardroom at 6 o'clock. On the 13th, we will be recognizing those in our school system who will be retiring. So we'll have a luncheon that day to recognize our retirees. Then on June 29th, we'll have our special session board meeting, kind of an end of the fiscal year meeting. It'll be a very short meeting that'll take place at 5 o'clock. And certainly on the 29th, school will be out for everyone in observance of Memorial Day. Next, we have honors and recognitions, and we always enjoy this part of the agenda. And I'd like to call on our Community Relations Director, Ms. Libby Brown, and we're going to step down front and shake hands with all these recipients.
Once your name is called, you'll just come up, take the certificate from me, shake hands, and then go through the line. Mr. Pennell will give you a medallion. And if you'll just stay up here, and we'll take some pictures, and everybody will have an opportunity to do that.
Thank you, Dr. Stone. Chairman Pennell, board members, we know this is one of your favorite parts, and it looks like it's the most popular part of the Board of Education meeting. So we're going to dive right into our budding artists in the Caldwell County Schools, and their artwork will be on display. So parents, please feel that you can come back for June, the second week of June, and admire your students' artwork. We're going to start with Gamel Middle School. And Anna Crook is here. She's the principal. And Janet Roman is the art teacher. Ethan Eldrith. He's a 7th grader.
When we
Is
call the
Ethan-
school's name, if we'd like for the art teacher, if you're here, or if not, the principal to come up and stand with
Please
us.
join us. Lainey McCall, 6th grader. Is Lainey here? And Bianca Reed. We do know we have 23 days left. Granite Falls Middle School, Melissa Costin is principal, and Mary Cardwell is the art teacher. And Mrs. Costin, I'm not sure if Mary's here. She is. Okay. But Melissa, if you'll join us, please. Thank you. Cece Fay is a 6th grader. Sophia Keller is an 8th grader. Jolie Rodriguez Caballero is a 7th grader. Caballero. London Wright. I know London is here because I met her earlier. So okay, Hudson Middle School. Julia Knight and Kelly Woody is the art teacher. Julia is the principal. Max Matchy, 6th grade. I know Max is here. Olivia Miller, 7th grade. Hudson Middle. Olivia Miller. So Olivia is here with us. Yes, I did. And Miss Woody's up there with us. Mackenzie O'Donnell. Mackenzie is an 8th grader. Mackenzie O'Donnell. I think so. And Abby Story. Abby is a 6th grader at Hudson Middle School. So we have all of our middle school students and their art teachers and principals. So it's time for a photo op. Okay, so if you want to take a picture, I'm going to get out of your way.
Everybody wait.
Okay, we have one elementary school to top off our little artist at the Education Center. Whitnell Elementary, and Kim Case, the principal, is here. So Kim, if you would like to come up first. And she is not with us. He isn't. He's actually, his wife is graduating tonight. So Liberty Bolick is a 2nd grader. Liberty Bolick. If you'll just help them along, Kim. Jacorian Logan. Jacorian Logan is a 3rd grader. Leah Washington is a 3rd grader at Whitnell Elementary. Leah Washington. And Sarah Beth Zajac, 4th grader. Okay, so that's our elementary school.
All right, turn your certificates.
Thank you, student artist. Okay, now we're going to recognize a teacher. Maura Brookshire, a physical education teacher at Hudson Elementary School, received one of only 10 national grants for Jump Rope for Heart, Hoops for Heart. She was recognized during the association's celebration of professional excellence ceremony at its national convention in Boston. Ms. Brookshire held her 19th school-wide heart health event this year. Hudson Elementary School was ranked #1 in the county last year and 8th in Western North Carolina region. With a degree in physical education from Pfeiffer University, a master's degree in administration from Gardner-Webb University, and a national board certified teacher. She said that she fully understands and sometimes witnesses the impact of inactivity and poor nutrition with students. And so she is highly motivated to do that, and we are very glad you are. So congratulations.
You should have gotten this early.
And Adam Wynn Miller, we know that you're very proud of her, her principal. We know you are. Thank you. Thank you, Maura. Okay. Last month, you may have remembered all the superior bands and choruses that we recognize for high school. Well, tonight, it's the element or middle school level. It's their time to shine. The MPA is the only state-sanctioned event that provides a summative, standards-based assessment designed to measure student performance as related to the goals, objectives, and grade level competencies specified in the North Carolina Standard Course of Study. We are proud to recognize bands and chorus in the middle grades that were awarded superior ratings at the MPA. And we are going to start with Happy Valley Concert Band, Superior, Meredith Griffin, Principal, Erica Greer. She is the band director and the chorus director there. And she has with her, I think, Erica Broad, Megan Conley, and Landon Dillard. And I will take it, these are some of your band students. So, congratulations to Happy Valley. Gamewell Middle School, Anna Crook Principal, Sarah Privet, chorus instructor. They had 3 superior ratings in chorus, 6th grade chorus, 7th grade chorus, and 8th grade chorus. So Mrs. Privet has been very busy, and congratulations to Gamewell Middle School. Granite Falls Middle School, Melissa Costin, Principal, Patrick Haymore, Band Director, superior rating, 8th grade band. Yes, Granite Falls Middle School. Shay Starnes, Chorus Director, 8th grade chorus. Hudson Middle School, Julia Knight, Principal, Sherry January, Chorus Director. 3 superior ratings for Hudson Middle School. 6th grade treble chorus, 7th grade mixed chorus, and 8th grade mixed chorus. And we're starting to run out of room. Okay, we're going to try to squeeze in William Lenore Middle School. We have one more school. Lisa Vaughn is principal at William Lenore Middle School. Terry Reed is the band director. Superior rating in 7th grade band and 8th grade band. So we have that. And Carla Reed, his wife, chorus director, 6th grade chorus, 7th grade chorus, 8th grade chorus, treble chorus, all superior ratings. So this is a wonderful group. South Caldwell Robotics Team, known as the Robo Monkeys, advanced to the world first for inspiration and recognition in science and technology competition in Houston, Texas, after engineering a robot and winning in North Carolina. In their 8th season of competition, the South Caldwell High School Robotics Team finished 6th out of 64 teams at the statewide first robotics competition held at Campbell University, qualifying the team to compete in the World Championship in Texas. FIRST is a competition that builds teamwork and engineering problem-solving skills, and is often referred to as the varsity sport of the mind. Before ever arriving at the competition arena, teams must design, build, program, and learn to drive their robot. So we have some of the team members here tonight from the Robo Monkeys. They couldn't all be here because we know that testing has already started in some of the high schools. So we're going to start with Aiden Wilson and Aiden.
Barry, you want to come up?
Oh, Michael's here. Michael Beeman is here. Okay, so Michael was able to make it. He is the coach. He is the science teacher at South Caldwell High School. We do have a certificate for all of the, but if you want to announce them as they come up.
Yeah, why don't you do that?
Okay. Adrian Aldridge. Alex. Brandon Davis. Brooke Elliott. Anna Rudder.
And we have some mentors with us. This is Zach, and I'm looking for Zach Epps. So this is one of the mentors from South Caldwell High School. They, too bad they couldn't bring their robot with them this evening. That's always fun to see the robot. But we're very proud of you. You made it in the top 10 in North Carolina, and they went to Houston, Texas, and competed. Was it nationally?
Yeah,
Internationally. So we had
all over the world.
Yeah. So we're very proud of you. Very proud. Let's give them a big round of applause. And Chad Smith is the principal. Yes, Chad's here. So Chad, Mr. Smith, would you like to do it? Okay. You're going to be in the
great job. Thank you all very much.
Yes, so proud of you. Okay, did you grab Denny? We also have a volunteer with us this evening. So we have an array of people to recognize in the Caldwell County Schools. Collinsville Elementary volunteer Denny Key was presented the 2017 Caldwell County Schools Volunteer of the Year Award at the 22nd Annual Volunteer of the Year Luncheon sponsored by Blue Ridge Energy. As top volunteers from each school were recognized for outstanding volunteer contributions. Described as a person who wants to make a positive impact on students and create a legacy by setting the right example and by showing that a difference can be made with giving of one's time. Denny Key is known throughout the school not only as volunteer, but as coach. He built the entire softball field at Collinsville and a storage building near the field. So they really love this guy at Collinsville School, and we do too. So congratulations, Denny, for being the 2017 Volunteer of the Year. Your principal is here.
Hello, Greg.
Yeah, Craig Siren. You thought you were going to get out of that. Thank you. Now we're going to turn attention back to students, and this is North Carolina competition. We're no strangers to Skills USA at the North Carolina Leadership and Skills Conference in Greensboro, which was held recently. And we are going to recognize some of the top students in Skills North Carolina USA competition. And a couple of these students will be going to nationals in the summer. And Libby Huff, our interim CTE director, is here with us this evening. And thank you for providing me with all this information. Wes Caldwell, we're going to start with Wes Caldwell. Andy Poole is the principal. He is here. And they have a plumbing program. So plumbing, teacher Mike Swanson, and I think Mr. Swanson's right behind me. They had a first place winner in the state, Caleb Crisp, and he is going to nationals. And we have a third place finisher also we're very proud of, Chris Warhurst. And I'm not sure if Chris is here this evening. He is from West Caldwell. Yes. So, Mr. Poole, if you'd like to join your winner here, after you get a phone. And nationals will be held, where will it be? It will be Kansas City, Louisville, Kentucky this year. So we wish you the best of luck. Next we have South Caldwell CTE program. Chad Smith, again, who was here earlier with us, is principal. And they have a masonry program at South Caldwell High School. The teacher is Scott Settlemeyer, and he had a second place finisher, Elijah Frizzell. So, you're going to take pictures. We'll put it on the web.
Thank you, Scott.
Come to the middle.
Go get front and center. We'll get you a picture on the web. Congratulations. Yeah, sure.
Just to tell y'all how close this young man came, there were 80 competing, roughly 80 in this competition. First and second place tied in scores, and he lost by tiebreaker to second place. So that's how close it
Next, we have the High Brighton Firefighter Academy. We're very proud young men with us this evening. David Caldwell is the principal. He couldn't be with us this evening, but Crystal Davis, the assistant principal, is with us. And teacher and chief of the academy, Sam Smith, is with us. He had the winner or first place finisher in the firefighter intermediate category, Preston Hawkins. So Preston is our first place finisher. Our third place finisher is Bryce Bennett. There's Mr. He's captain. And then our fourth place finish goes to Hunter Vines. So congratulations to all three of these. And Chief Smith, do you want to tell everybody what you told me in the email today about these young men?
These young men, I'm pretty proud of them here in the state. They're working. They competed individually, but they trained as a team, which is the firefighter way. But each one of these young men are committed to their community, North Catawba, Gaymore, and Granite Falls. Their parents are here. These gentlemen are second generation firefighters, and I'm very proud. Let's please give them a hand.
Yeah. We have some proud daddies in the audience. And moms.
One more at the back.
And now we have students from, of course, the Caldwell Career Center Middle College. Brian Sudreth is the principal there, and he tells me some are taking finals tonight, right? Several are taking finals. So, Mr. Sudreth, why don't you just go ahead and join us? You may need to get some of their certificates. Okay, the first category is American Spirit, and the advisor is Frida Parker, Karen Hung, Molly Brown, and Haley Burns. Is Frida going to jump? Okay. Electronics Technology, advisor is Frida Parker. First place is Nathan Witt. Is Nathan here? Nathan is going to nationals. Yes. Extemporaneous Speaking, advisor Frida Parker. Third place is Zach Bailey. Job interview, advisor Frida Parker. Third place is Caleb Cucci. Chucky, thank you. See, you're serving a purpose here. Mobile Robotics, advisor Frida Parker. Third place, Zach Helton, Ryan Balda. Web Design, advisor Guy Myers. Second place, Kate Kelly and Ryan Thompson.
Ryan Thompson is here.
And Ryan may be interning this summer at the Education Center. Yes.
Guys, get this picture out of here, fellas. Give it to him.
We have two more to be awarded this evening. Nicholas Grozier. Mr. Sudrith, if you want to return to the front.
right here.
Okay. And Nicholas, come on up and we'll talk about Nicholas for a second. Nicholas is the winner of the 5th annual Shakespeare Monologue competition, an event in collaboration with the Caldwell Arts Council. Nicholas is not here this evening because he's playing one of the lead roles in Aladdin Jr. at South Caldwell High School. Very talented young man, very comfortable on stage, winner of the countywide competition, and tell him we're very proud of him. If you have time, I think you can catch a show at South Caldwell tonight, Mr. Smith.
If he would have been here tonight.
What time does
the meeting
Aladdin
will last
start?
a lot longer.
7. So you have time to catch Nicholas Grozier and Aladdin Jr. So tell him we send our congratulations. Thank you. And we always have our annual poetry recitation competition for middle level students. And this is the 12th annual event for those middle school age students. Top 3 winners all came from William Lenore Middle School this year. Congratulations to Noah Yurashevsky, Chikaya Anderson, and Chikaya is with us this evening. Is Noah here? And Maisie Wakefield. So those are our top 3 winners in the 12th annual poetry recitation competition. This is another event coordinated in partnership with the Caldwell Arts Council. And Lisa Vaughn is principal, and she's with us, and I know she's very proud of her top 3 students.
Come toward the middle. Ms. Vaughn, you want to join us?
And she thought she got it. Yeah, almost. So let's give them a big round of applause. And that's it. It got cooler as we went on.
Thank you all for being here tonight. I know y'all can't go to West Caldwell, Mr. Ramsey's class, but now would be an appropriate time. If you choose to leave, you're welcome to stay for our business session, however. But thank you for being here. Congratulations to all the winners. Okay, we're going to continue on with our meeting. I'm going to turn the meeting at this point over to our superintendent, Dr. Steve Stone.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, as well as members of the audience. We're so glad West Caldwell is in the house. A couple of pieces of legislation I want to just bring you up to date on. House Bill 13 was signed by the governor of North Carolina last week, and we are most appreciative of the efforts of our Senator Ballard and Representative Hall, who supported this, but this was the class size reduction bill, and it really does postpone for one more year
the requirement that we meet the 1 to 18, 1 to 16, and 1 to 17 ratio in kindergarten through third grade. So next year, the number will be reduced by 1 from the current level, which is very easy to do for Caldwell County Schools. So that's passed. Also in that proposal was the promise that the General Assembly would put in the next year's budget an additional set of funding for the arts teachers, the music TE, and for the foreign language teachers. So we'll try to hold them to that, but very good news for us. The other piece of legislation that has not been approved that I want to call your attention to is Senate Bill 467. This is reforming retirement benefits, and really we need to watch this because this is going to be a huge problem, I believe, for us as we move forward in the recruitment of teachers. If this bill passes, it will move the way retirement is done now, because right now we have a defined benefit. When a teacher retires after 30 years, they get a certain definite amount based on their years of service and their salary the last 4 years. Moving forward, if this bill passes, it will actually set up a 401k retirement system that new teachers will have to buy into. And for the first year at least in the bill, there is a requirement that the state will pay, because right now with the retirement system, the state pays a part and you pay a part. So in the first year of this 401k retirement accounts, the state will make that commitment to pay their part, but it's only in there for 1 year. So my real fear is that for beginning teachers or for people looking at the teaching profession, that we're going to take away a huge recruitment tool that North Carolina has enjoyed in the past. The other piece that's tied to this legislation is to have new hirees when they come in, that when they retire, they no longer get to continue with the state insurance plan. Right now, when a teacher retires until they receive Medicare, they can still have the benefits of the North Carolina teachers insurance plan. So if this goes away again, that's two big pieces that Trish will tell you that's kind of sets North Carolina aside from a lot of other school districts, other states. So we're very worried about that. So we will send some information to you about how to voice your concerns, if you choose to, with the General Assembly. Also, the last thing I'll mention is that the budget is coming out of the Senate this week. We thought it would come out today, but when I last looked at 5:30, it has not. So we'll be watching that. The state has a $581 million surplus. That gives them a little bit of an opportunity to have some new funding this year. So we certainly are hoping that they're going to address teacher pay, administrator, principal, and assistant principal pay, as well as state employees' pay. So we'll be watching that. It had not come out at 5:30. We'll keep watching. Today was the day, or either tomorrow. So we'll look for the Senate budget. Once the Senate budget comes out, it goes over to the House. The House will reject it. They will add to it or modify it somewhat, and then they'll have a conference and at some point reach an agreement. The Senate is driving the budget this year. Next year it will be the House.
Dr. Stone, does that bill that you just talked about in the Senate,
467?
467, and the one for the funding for administrators, does it have a number, or is it just part of the funding package?
It's the Senate bill, I'll have to look that up, but it's like a 234 or 123, or it's one of those numbers. We'll look it up. Maybe Trish, if you've got internet, you can look up and see which one has to deal with principal pay. It is also tied to the bill that would increase the amount of lottery funds that can be used to support school construction. So it's got two big components to it. But what we're really looking for is not necessarily that bill, but it's the budget bill. Do they include something in there for principals, assistant principals, and for teachers? And it will actually be in the budget bill.
Part of the budget bill.
Yes.
Thank you, sir, for clarifying.
A lot of things get into the budget bill at the last minute. Dwayne called my attention to this. I hope you saw it, but last week we had 14 new yellow school buses delivered to Caldwell County, compliments of the state, and so we will certainly, those will be rolling off the lot, I'm assuming, as soon as we can get them all
They're being inspected now.
inspected. All right, that's it, Mr. Chairman. My second item is a change to the calendar that you approved back in February, and what you're getting is the old copy. This is the copy that you approved in February. So I want you to compare that one to the one that you have in the board packet, because I want to use it to kind of explain the changes that we are recommending tonight. And let me say to students and for anyone out there watching, this really does not impact students at all. The days that I am talking about will be ones that really impacts teachers, and only one of those. So if you have the old calendar in front of you, that's what you approved in February. In your packet, you have the new proposal, and there are only 3 days that I am recommending the change to. The first one to call your attention to is December the 20th, Wednesday. That, in the old calendar, is an annual leave, and I'm recommending that it now become an optional planning. An annual leave means that most staff are gone. An optional planning means that only the newest of teachers who don't have the days built up yet to take vacation will have to work that day. The second change is in March, on March the 30th. And if you're looking at the old calendar, that's Good Friday. You will see it was originally planned for an optional planning day. I am recommending that it now become a holiday, a state-celebrated holiday. And the other change, if you look at the old calendar, April the 2nd was the holiday, and now it will become an annual leave day. This will address some of the concerns we heard about the calendar this year about having school on Good Friday, a state holiday. Mr. Chairman, the administration recommends approval of the modified calendar.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the modified calendar as it is presented to us.
Any comments or questions?
Well, I'm glad we had an opportunity to have this, since that was the feedback that we received, and I appreciate the fact that you were looking at it a second time, because it did answer each piece of feedback we had, so thank you.
We have our fingers crossed that maybe this time next year we'll have even more flexibility.
You notice I didn't mention the calendar, Bill,
Right,
because they are
right,
actually in
right.
the Senate Rules Committee,
I
which
know.
means unless something happens, they're there to die.
Oh, so there's not much hope for that one.
The only hope for that would be is, as they begin to do the budget, the Senate will use those House bills as a leverage point to get more of their way on the budget versus the House. So it's still possible as a political football. The Senate will use it to bargain with the House. And so the final budget will be a compromise. And it could very well be that they pull one of those bills out and will give it to the House as a talking point or a trading point.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And motion passes. Thank you, Dr. Stone. Next, I'd like to call on Dr. Trish Johnson, Associate Superintendent, Human Resource Services.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and Dr. Stone, the Senate bill that references the administrative salary is Senate Bill 234.
I knew it was a sequence. 2, 3, 4.
2, 3, 4, thank you.
I have 3 items for your attention this evening, beginning with Exhibit 4. Exhibit 4 includes, 3. Exhibit 3 includes usual and customary personnel matters that are for your information only and no action is required. Exhibit 4 is pretty extensive. It's usual and customary personnel items, but I'd like to explain to you what you have. You have a listing of probationary teachers that are recommended for rehire. Since 2013, the end of the career status in North Carolina, we have not issued career status. So you're going to see that list get longer and longer each year as we continue to employ new teachers. So this is 4 years of teachers who have taught in the state of North Carolina who are performing at proficiency or better that we're recommending for continued hire, simply because they're not eligible for career status. At one point, you would approve most of them for career status. So now we have to just rehire or renew all of them for the coming year. The next list that you have are temporary teachers or temporary employees who had temporary employment. That means they were working as tutors or interventionists or in interim positions that are not to be filled for the coming year. So that ends their employment at the end of this school year. So that's what you have. I respectfully recommend approval of the usual and customary personnel items as they have been presented to you.
Chairman Pennell, I need to recuse from having a family member on the
Okay.
list.
All right. Do I hear a motion that we approve the usual and customary personnel items as presented?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we,
I think that was a motion and a second.
Is that a motion
sounds like it.
and a second? Are we,
It really was in unison.
yeah, it was in unison. Who but
Flip a coin.
Teresa.
Well, I think Teresa got it out and
Okay,
stopped.
and,
so-
uh, second, Ann? Second?
I second the motion.
Very good, thank you.
From my colleague.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And motion passes.
And final, Exhibit 5, I have student transfer requests for the 2017-18 school year. The open enrollment period began on January 17th and closed on March 13th. And what you have are a list of students who have requested transfers for the coming school year. There were 349 requests received. Of the 349 received, 334 meet board-established criteria. I respectfully recommend approval of the 334 student transfer requests for the 2017-18 school year as they've been presented.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the list of student transfer requests as they have been presented to us.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Dr. Johnson.
Thank you.
Next, I'd like to call on Associate Superintendent Dr. Carol Burns, Educational Program Services.
Mr. Chairman and members of the board and Dr. Stone, I'm going to present the Career and Technical Education Local Plan. This was prepared by Libby Huff. So see, I have her sitting right behind me in case there's a question. And we do want to thank her. Some of you were there today for planning the celebration for the Work Ready community that we attended today. We're very proud of that. And she was also doing that. So she's had double duty today. So it's my pleasure to get to do this. So she's going to see if I know all the answers. So let me try first. This plan has to be submitted and approved by you annually. There are 8 performance indicators, and I know you've had a chance to look at those. These are required by the federal Perkins legislation, and it also will include the planning allotments. And we want to take just a brief look at those concentrators because these all hook to our achievement that we've just been talking about with advanced ed. All these pieces go together. If you notice on the first one, the first indicator was that 60% of our career and technical education concentrators who graduated would achieve proficiency level. And you'll notice that we were almost there. The state was at 51.2, we were 50.8. Well, it's pretty good, but that's not good enough. We are not happy with that. The next area is that big area. If you remember on our advanced ed, this is the area that we have to work on the most. The goal was that 78.6 of the concentrators would achieve proficiency, and the state level was 44.9, and ours was 36.0, and you know that has to be much better than that. I see Mr. Sims shaking his head. That just won't do. Now, I go back and remind you that a concentrator is a student who has completed 4 units of career and technical education in a pathway, and one of those has to be an advanced course. So that's the ones we're looking at now. The third one was that 82% of the CTA participants will have met proficiency on the tests that they take for the class they're doing for credentialing. And the state was at 76.5, but we can brag that we're at 85.1, which is spectacular. The fourth one was that the high school completers would earn, of course, a diploma, and the goal was 93.5, and we're at 98.6, and that's almost 100%. And the fifth one is that 91% of the concentrators will graduate with their cohort, and we're, again, 98%. That's great. Sixth one, of course, is that the 93.7% of the concentrators will be in post-secondary education, advanced training, military working, and if you know our goals that we do on advanced ed, that's exactly what we were working toward. The state was at 94.4, and here's another bragging point for us. We're at 98.0. And that one's been marked for you, that's up from 88.4. What a jump. That is wonderful. Number 7 has to do with the non-traditional participation, and this is students taking courses that you would normally think, and the one I usually use is masonry, for example. You wouldn't think of the females taking that, but we do work in the state, and the national has us working on non-traditional participation so that anybody can do whatever it is you have in your mind that you'd like to do. The goal was 31.2, the state was at 27.5, we're at 27.3, we were okay with that. And non-traditional completion of programs, that's actually completing that program that they're in. The goal was 22.2 and we achieved 25, which is fine. So if you look at that, we're really working on reading and math, and our big one to work on will be math, and that's been very obvious. The next is a school profile. This calls for 56 teaching positions, and you have noted which schools and where those are. I will note for you that CTE offers, it's offered through 8 program areas, and there's 73 course offerings. I'll stop for just a minute. That's pretty awesome. 73 course offerings and 14 career clusters. And many offer honors credit. We have 4 courses in this sequence that are eligible for AP credit, which is great. We also have an articulation agreement with a community college where they can also get college credit, and that involves some 26 courses. It's a very thorough, very comprehensive programs. The major activities included or planned for next year would be to collaborate with our major stakeholders and to keep doing that. And if you were at the program today, you know that that is a thrust of the school system and the community college and the Chamber of Commerce and the Economic Development Commission. Everybody agrees that this is something we must collaborate on. We'll continue to work on professional development because regardless of how well-trained these teachers are, when they come out of school, new developments are taking place and they have to train constantly. And we'll have to do some marketing to the students because, again, if the students don't take the course, we cannot continue to offer that course. And I tell them, I use an example that quite often is we have trouble getting the students to take accounting. That's just not their most favorite wonderful course, David. And I can remember sort of taking 2 students to really push that to as a high school principal. And one of those now is the finance officer for the Hickory Public Schools, Adam Steele. Yeah. So his principal begged and pleaded with him to take accounting. And then another one is with an auditing firm that audits the books for the town of Granite Falls. So I'm actually working with 2 students that I think I got down on my hands and knees and begged them to take those courses. So it might come to that as far as some things when you know those things are out there and you do well, you have to market. We also plan to update equipment, and the equipment that is being looked at is computer labs and the food labs, and lots of interest in culinary, so we can't cook on the stoves that are 40 years old at this particular point. We're grinning at this one because we're hoping we can get their leftovers for the Education Center. We'll also be emphasizing the student organizations. The student organizations and career and technical emphasize leadership, and that will be done throughout the school year. It has been an emphasis for several years, but will be done even more so in the coming year. Did I get it all? See if they understood it. Then take a CTE course, vocational course. See, very good. We respectfully request that you approve this plan.
Do I hear a motion that we approve the Career and Technical Education Local Plan for 2017 as presented?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the Career and Technical Education Plan as presented by Dr. Burns for the 2017 local plan.
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Dr. Burns. Thank you, Libby, as well, for all the work you do with CTE. Now we have Dr. Jeff Church, Associate Superintendent, Auxiliary Services.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Stone, I have 4 items for your attention tonight, 1 for information only and 3 for action. Exhibit 7 is for information only. It's the amount collected in surplus from July through April of this year, and it requires no board action.
Pleased with doing that online?
Yes, yes, very pleased. Yes, and we're actually going to be having quite a bit more coming back in June because the updates that Dr. Burns was just talking about, we're putting those, some of the stuff from West Caldwell, that's being sold on GovDeals as well. So very well, very pleased.
Out-of-state buyers and local?
Yes, yes, yes. And it's, you can see the price that we've received $13,000 so far this year, so we're receiving more for it. Exhibit 8 are bids and a lottery application for phase 5 of High Brighton HVAC replacement. The lowest responsible bidder was William C. Reynolds at $311,500. Respectfully request that you approve the bids and the lottery application.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the bid to William C. Reynolds and also the lottery application as presented.
Okay, and we have a second. Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. Exhibit 9, contract renewals for cleaning with Watts Cleaning Service, and they are for South Caldwell, West Caldwell, and the Friedman Center. We've been using them for the past 3 years. Their contract is up, and we'd like to continue to use them. They do an excellent job. Respectfully request the approval of the contracts.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve renewing the cleaning contract for South Caldwell, West Caldwell, and the Friedman Center with Watts Cleaning Service.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And motion passes.
Thank you. Exhibit 10 is the exhibit that I always dread bringing before you every year. We're recommending an increase of K-5 lunches of $0.10 and then 612 increase in $0.10 for student lunches for next year. This is a have to. We have to continue to increase on an annual basis until we meet the federal reimbursement rate. So we have no choice with this.
I have a question. Mr. Garner, are we getting any closer to the target with that, or?
Every year we raise prices and then they raise the reimbursement.
Right.
Chase it.
Okay.
But we are getting a little bit closer.
Okay.
What is the rate?
It's right at 290.
Well, we have to do it, but, it's not a choice to vote against it, but I think most people would do that, but we have to do what we're mandated to do.
It would not be presented if we didn't have to present it.
Right.
That's for
We
sure.
understand.
So I respectfully request their approval.
Do I hear a motion that we approve the adjusted lunch prices for the next school year as presented?
Who wants to do this?
I'll reluctantly do it.
Second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? Mr. Garner, you said 290. Is that for high school or?
That's just a total reimbursement.
Oh, okay.
Minus the amount of commodities that we get.
Okay.
So it's actually a little bit more than that, but we deduct the commodity.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Now, our price is not $290. It's
255.
235.
Well, I know it's not
Yeah.
290, but.
Well, I just
talking
saying for the
in-
public to know we're.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
It's
It's,
235 for K-5 and 255 for 6.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's,
It won't pass
it's a
think that's more
have-to
than 10
situation.
cents.
We don't like doing it, but obviously, it's something we have to do every year. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Church. Next, David Johnson, Director of Finance. I believe, Tim, are you doing the first item?
I sure am. North Carolina General Statute 115C-429 requires us as a Board of Education to submit our budget request to the Board of County Commissioners every year. This is for our local current expense request, and we are requesting this year out of the Finance Committee an increase of $183,000. And that basically equates to a 2% salary increase and also the employer matching contributions at the current rate. And that's the recommendation from the Finance Committee.
Okay, with a recommendation from the Finance Committee, it's not necessary for a second. Does anyone have any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And that motion passes. Now, Mr. Johnson, I recognize you as our Director of Finance.
Okay, the next thing that I have for tonight is I have two budget amendments. Number 15, which is for the State Public School Fund. It's in the amount of $46,538. Budget amendment number 16 is for the Federal Grants Fund. It is for $241,823. Both of these changes are primarily made at director's request, and that'll bring the total budget for Caldwell County Schools, if these two amendments are approved tonight, to $122,003,395.74.
Okay, do I hear a motion that we approve the two budget amendments, the State Public School Fund as well as the Federal Grant Fund as presented?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that we approve the budget amendments as presented by Mr. Johnson to the state public school funds and the federal grant funds.
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman, I just have one announcement for my section. Just want to congratulate the district on its advanced ed notification. That means we'll be district-wide certification for the next 5 years. Thank you, Dr. Carol Burns and her department, and Katrina McKellen, and all the principals who put a lot of hard work into it. I know we've got some students from West Caldwell, so if you don't mind, I thought I would use this opportunity to see if any of our students have any question for how the board operates or anything you want to know tonight. I'm going to ask Mr. Ramsey to give you a quiz. Yes.
I just have like one.
Please tell us your name, please.
Oh, Lisa Whiteman.
And what grade?
12.
Okay.
I have one thing I'd like you guys to think about, not for this year's quiz because it's so soon, but for graduation times, just because they're all at the same time, and sometimes it's hard for people who have family members at all three schools, and, or at least like two of the schools, and they can't go. So if you would just like think about maybe doing it on, or having it maybe that Friday or that Saturday, and doing one at like 10 and one at 2 and then one at 6, and having project graduation still that night, but just thinking so more people can be able to go. Like I know like pastors or like family members or like cousins, I know the schools are not able to go to for graduation. It's a really big deal for seniors and for family because you've put your kid through all this for 13 years to see them graduate, and some of them don't get to.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Excellent.
that's a good
Excellent idea.
Thank you.
All right, who's got a question for us? Or another comment? That was excellent. Thank you. Come on, West. I've never known the Warriors to be quiet. Mr. Poole's not in the room, is he?
He left.
Any questions about the way the board operates? It's pretty simple. We operate by Robert's Rules of Order. We have 7 board members, and I'm the secretary. And so I can't vote, but I do get to make recommendations. All the recommendations come from those of us who work for the school district. You saw them as we came up. Do you remember how much money our budget is? Who got that number down? He just said it. No. How much money do you think this district gets a year? Who got that number? Come on. Mr. Johnson, stand up and speak a little bit louder. Tell them the final budget numbers. This ought to wow you.
$122,003,395.
$122 million. Well, most
Percent and go to salaries and benefits.
yeah, paying for your teachers and principals. Yeah, we have about 1,800 employees in this county, and every month, almost probably about $10 million goes back in salaries so people can spend their money. Well, not 10 million, it's probably closer to 8 million goes back into the county for teachers, administrators, and all. But a lot of it goes back into your classroom with those Chromebooks, with the heat, with the electricity, with the buses, with the meals, all those other kinds of things. So we'd like to think that you get a good bang for your buck. And the parents, of course, pay part of that through their state taxes and through the General Assembly. And that's why we always keep an eye on what's going on in Raleigh. Those Senate budgets and the House bills, we always try to keep an eye on what's going on because it will affect you. Because if they cut taxes, it means they're going to cut how much we can spend. So that may mean that we have to cut the number of teachers or arts programs. So that means you may be in a class with 30 instead of a class with 20. So all these things that come out of Raleigh will impact us here in Caldwell County. All right, one more question. Because at the end of this, we're going to ask that you stand up here and take a picture with us when we finish up our business. And we are almost done. But I have to have one more question before I go on, so I'm just going to sit and wait. Nope, I'm going to wait until I have a question. And you can't do it because you asked one. I can sit here all night. I don't have anything to do. Yeah, you did.
You did.
All right, we need a guy. One of you guys stand up and ask us a question. Got to tell us who you are, though. Come on, I can wait all night. You have to stay here. All right, you're not a guy. All right, I'll take it.
Go ahead.
Okay, good question. I have been here for, this is going on my 11th year as superintendent and enjoying it. Thank you, good question. No one else. By the way, these folks up here, do you know they're not paid? They're volunteers, and they are elected, so your parents go to the polls and you will elect, and when you become 18 and you register to vote, which you must, you will have an opportunity to vote for members of the Board of Education. We just elected Ms. Edwards, we just elected Mr. Hawkins and Mr. Pennell. So in 2 more years, we'll be re-electing Mr. Sims, Mr. Knight, Mrs. Branch, and Mrs. Darcy. So you'll have an opportunity, if you're 18, to go ahead and register to vote and be prepared. All right, stick tight. We'll be done shortly, and we'll have a group picture up here so Mr. Ramsey will know you're here.
I may have said earlier that you were a history class. You're probably a government class. Is that correct? Okay, very good, very good. Tell Mr. Ramsey hello for me. I've known him a long time. But anyway, glad you all are here tonight. Board information on the next item on the agenda. Not really anything there. The board is well aware of various events and proms and various other things coming up and graduation and so forth. So take advantage. Obviously, I know you will. And I appreciate how active this board is because these people go to a lot of events. So you'll see them out in the schools. And on graduation night, we'll split up and there'll be some of us at each of the 3 traditional high schools. So anyway, we're going to move on. The next item on the agenda is the appointment of a board attorney. Some time ago, a committee was appointed and they had several applicants, and those were pared down, and the board interviewed those that made the cut, so to speak. And the board has a consensus choice here, and that choice is Destin Hall. He is with Wilson, Lackey, and Rohr. So actually, the recommendation here is to approve Destin Hall and the law firm of Wilson, Lackey, and Rohr. Now, a date is to be determined here. It's probably going to be one of our next two meetings that,
Hang on, Ed.
but we will vote on this, this item tonight. So do I hear a motion that we approve Destin Hall and Wilson, Lackey, and Rohr as our new board attorney?
I move that we approve West Caldwell graduate Destin Hall and his attorney firm as board attorney.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And motion passes. So we'll be moving on with that at the appropriate time in the very near future. Next item, the board has had opportunity to look at the listing of meetings for the 2017-2018 school year. So the Board of Education meeting schedule has does need to be approved at this time. Do I hear a motion that we approve the 2017-2018 Board of Education meeting schedule?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the 2017-18 Board of Education meeting schedule as presented.
Second.
Any comments, questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And that motion passes as well. Anything else? Just any comment or thing? We do appreciate y'all being here. And we will be over in this corner in just a second, and we'll get a picture with you, and that'll testify to the fact that you stayed here for the duration of the meeting. Do I hear a motion we adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes, and we'll be right over here.
And I'm going to ask Mr. Ramsey tomorrow to ask y'all how much was the county budget, so you better have it down.
School board veterans.